plan is today, we're actually going to be doing the quarter panel on this. In addition to that, we already have a pretty significant amount of body work to take care of. We have a couple dents and dings down the side, but I'm not entirely sure that we're going to get to body filler today. But the main concern is this lower section of quarter. So from this body line down, the plan is to replace today. And we don't have the panel. We're going to be making this by hand from an old hood skin. So we're going to come over here and pick out the hood that best matches the work that we're going to be doing. Pretty smooth hood. Pretty smooth hood. Ooh, that's a roof skin. Backside of that's cleaned up. Biggest thing we need to talk about. So obviously this comes down and there's like this this overlap seam. You can see where there's paint there. When you open it, it does a second stair step. When I bend this piece up, it comes back here. There's like a ramp that brings you out. So I think I'm gonna do this piece, and then this piece, because this actually stair steps a little less. Needs to come out like 1.5 inches and then follow the door up to this line. And I've thought about trying to get this all bent in there, but I think it'd actually be easier to just make basically 2 pieces, call it angle iron, and then fold those and then weld them all together, and then I can only hit them with a grinder, a little DA flappy disc on the front. And if I don't do it that way, I have a feeling it is not going to look any better on the outside than that could be. can easily show you guys why I'm doing what I'm doing. So the stair step in here jumps down a little bit after this door jamb ends. So it tapers not only outward, but it tapers downward. It goes from almost a 2-inch gap to like a 1-inch gap. I guess it's more like a 1.5 to a 1 inch. So this, starting here, is going to be this part. But I had to make it longer so that we could get our curves. So say that's locked in. There's my radius to my door. To get rid of these lines, I'm going to run it through the, I don't know what you call it, a pneumatic hammer. Probably doesn't seem like much. We got that piece bent. We got that piece bent. So the plan is to make a filler to transition these heights. And then we will make this door jamb piece here. Oddly enough, this basically tucks in there. I'll weld this seam out back here. I'll grind this smooth. We'll do a straight cut. I'll get this taken care of down here. And then this is gonna take some delicate trimming, but this is the transition. If that were to match up, this would match up. It just needs slid down to this point, so. 4 pieces, 1/4. Probably gonna get extra judged, but in terms of somebody else being able to do this, this is basically as simple as it gets. These 2 pieces from who knows where, Indonesia, Venezuela, some random country, I think was like $550. So I'm gonna spend 2 days making these and welding them in, and I'm only saving about $550. And then this would have been, I'm pretty sure, a different part. So they sell this section, and then they sell like this little section, and then they sell like a chunk that goes back, and I don't even think it goes all the way up. I'm pretty sure it only goes up here to the mid body line. So it probably would have been like $800 to buy the pieces I needed. Probably more than that, honestly. It's probably like $900. Update, we have everything bent up, everything's tacked together as needed, and we are ready to fasten it to the car. I threw 1 tack weld in, we got those 3 zip screws holding it. So this is what it looks like right now. Very happy with the way that's turning out. I still need to adjust the door. You can see the panel gap here. The door needs brought up a little bit. Side skirt fits as it should, and we're just gonna go ahead and weld everything in, grind it up as we need to, and you know, maybe touch up some things. Very interesting but loaded question was, how many Hondas have I had? And the reason I say that's a loaded question, I want to say 4 years ago, we threw 18 dashboards in the dumpster. I'm not trying to brag or like anything like that, but we were so heavily into parting cars out for eBay and Marketplace, and I didn't know what to save and what not to save. And after like 3 years of dashboards sitting around, we took all of them and put them in the same dumpster. And I want to say that that was at least 18. I don't remember if I went through and weeded out some of like the Del Sol or EG dashboards, but that's just cars that went to the scrapyard. So in terms of the cars that I've kept, resold, stuff like that, I still want to say that it's less than 100, but I don't honestly know the answer to it. Doesn't really matter to me, but you guys might want to hear about it. When am I going to start an Integra project? So actually, I had an Integra gifted to me by a follower down in Columbus. around Thanksgiving time last year. And I pulled all the interior out of it and I put that in a gas saver. And a bundle deal between that car and an engine I had here, JJ bought both of those from me. The reason I ended up getting rid of that Integra though, I rode in JJ's Integra and I just am not a fan of the interior. I'm not a fan of how I fit in the car. I'm 6'2", and it's honestly probably one of the reasons I don't normally drive the Civics. So I originally built the 4-door hatch to replace my CRV, and in the long run I wasn't happy with the comfort for myself. So I think that's one of the big reasons, height. Height comes into this, that I don't want an Integra, and I don't like a lot of smaller cars because of it. I started out in the Del Sols, and those have the most room in my opinion. Back to a similar Integra question. I get this question a lot. I see it in comments all the time. Would you ever build an older chassis like the CB7? I've never been into Accords. I think that's what the CB7 is. The 80s generation is what I believe the CB7 would be, the 80s generation Accord. I've never gotten into Accords, and if I did get into Accords, I think that it would be the K era forward. And even there, I feel like is not the playing field that I would want to be on. I don't mind the older ones. I do appreciate like EF owners, DA owners, and I do appreciate the Accords from the 80s era. I have a lot of respect for the people that can make them happen and work on them and keep them, I guess, on the road. But personally, I'm not a fan of Accords. I think Preludes are cool, but I don't see me owning one long term. It would probably be something I dabble with. Leading into another question, having like an H series. But yeah, I never got into them, and I don't think that I have any desire to. I think if I went into an older chassis, we would have to get even older, back into like the 70s. I think mobbing around one of the CVCCs would be pretty cool, but that's just preference. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can try and convince me otherwise. Somebody asked, whatever happened to the Honda swapped Ford Ranger? Talk to me way back in the day on Marketplace. The Ford Ranger, I had gotten tickets in it, mostly my fault. I got a disorderly conduct, my first criminal charge. I got a disorderly conduct for two-stepping it at a car meet that was like a block from the police station. And when we do stuff, we do things excessively. So it wasn't like I just did it for 2 seconds, pop, pop. It was more of like a full minute straight at minimum. I don't think that that charge was deserved, but I understand charging me for something. But that was my first criminal charge. A few weeks later, because of that incident, I had gotten a unsafe vehicle ticket in it because it's static. And the officer at the time claimed, which notably by law is against the law, your vehicle cannot come in contact with the ground at any time. Your wheels cannot come in contact with the vehicle at any time. There is a law on that. It will get you an unsafe vehicle ticket. I just had my daughter, so I wasn't really driving the Ranger to begin with. I had already dealt with all these tickets prior to her being born. And it was just becoming one of those like adult moments, I guess. So I traded it to B. Misler 69, and he has had possession of it ever since. It's not mine anymore. Hasn't been mine for quite some time. Maybe like the little features on the channel here and there have misconcepted that. But the Ranger is not mine. So sorry to break anyone's heart. It was a cool concept at the time. I still love the idea of it, but honestly, body dropping it was probably one of my biggest mistakes. But on that note, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.